You know, I could very well just walk around holding this kit up like a crucifix and insult everybody I come across. If you know British slang, you'll know what I mean. What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the P-Bandai high-grade Mandala Gundam from mobile fighter G-Gundam. Also known as the Mandor Gundam in products only, it participated in the 13th Gundam fight as a way approved by the Neo-Nepalese government for Kirill Makiril to avenge his loss in the 11th fight. This kit is a weird one to even begin commenting on. To start, there are 9 runners, a clear orange action base 5, and a single sticker included in the box. The build is also just as peculiar. The assembly order is different, but that's largely overshadowed by how this kit is dominated by these bead-like structures in place of a more traditional humanoid skeleton. That being said, besides gushing over how refreshing it is to build, the difficulty is fairly simple besides looking out for the smaller pieces on the belt and the head, though the largest hurdle is definitely knob cleanup. The rich colors are hard enough to clean up already, but the beads that are just one piece have horrendously large gates, so even with a god hand and some reasonable cleanup, marks will still be left behind on top of having to clean up around its structure. But once that's done, the rest of the build will be rather smooth to go through. The finished high-grade Mandala Gundam is as splendid as it is weird. It's literally a Gundam's head and torso joined to a bell with strings of streptococci, but Bandai really did a lot to bring the design to life. The molding is sharp, the only sticker used is for the eyes, and the only missing paint job is a grey section on the backpack. I also suggest bringing out the surface detail, especially the ones around the bottom rim. The color choices, however, are where I got a little stumped, as despite the blue and green being in a different shade to the line art, the colors chosen was somewhat taken from the Gundam Breaker mobile model, so even though you'll have to paint it for complete anime accuracy, I think it's still perfectly viable as a more modern high-definition interpretation. Bandai has also chosen to give the dark green parts of the belt a rougher texture instead of a surface detail, which I think suits the kit more. Moreover, while the proportions are stylized, some people may be annoyed that there are 4 abdominal beads as opposed to 3, but that's only because they're smaller than the ones on the line art, just so that the proportions still made sense. More minorly, there's a C-line on each side of the belt that may be tough to remove due to the details and texturing. Despite that, it is everything I would have ever asked for since I've wanted it in my collection. But can I just say that being able to see his face properly is a little bit cursed, mostly because it's always been obscured by the scarf it wears. Articulation starts with a hinged ball-jointed neck for the head, and despite the scarf, you can still move it to a fair degree. The shoulders are on a ball joint. Meanwhile, besides every single bead segment being ball-jointed, the first, third, and fifth arm beads possess a bend on top of the ball-jointed wrist, and knuckle joints for the prayer hands. Finally, the same case applies to the abdominal beads, where they are connected on ball joints, with the first and third bead also being able to bend. Honestly, I was expecting articulation to be severely limited due to how ball-jointed beads worked, but whatever humanoid parts are present has exceptional range of movement thanks to the naturally implemented bends. Coupled with the solidity of the kit, all this needs is some getting used to. Accessories continue being eccentric, but they start off mildly with a set of holding and prayer hands. The Mandala's main weapon is the Kakara staff. True to its name, the 6 rings on it do jingle, but more to symbolize impending demise. The weapon can be sandwiched into the hand for use like a polearm, but it would be easier to split the weapon and slide it into the hands instead. The split isn't just for show though, as 2 types of effect parts are included to depict the signature hidden blade. A custom one that depicts the blade being drawn, and a set of SP6 beams for the full beam saber. That being said, there's sadly no firing effects to depict the Rengoku Reppu attack. However, that's been made up for with the orange action base 5, that can either be used on the side or bottom of the Gundam, and the original inclusions. Firstly, there's an alternate scarf with ball-jointed cloth pieces for a more dynamic display. Secondly, there's the original gimmick that utilizes 2 types of effect parts and 8 mini Mandala Gundams, which each possess dual texturing and the need for painted details. The cloud-shaped effect parts can each hold 3 mini Mandalas and be attached onto either end of the staff. I'm not sure what for, but it reminds me of the bow primes in Kanon form from Warframe. Meanwhile, there are 8 trail effect parts that can each hold a mini Mandala, and replace select sections of the bell for the Gundam to perform the Mandala circle technique solo. And while the gimmick is a little silly, it's still a very cool way to display one of its most iconic moves. The mini mandalas can also attach onto the belt directly in preparation for the attack, but I just think that looks a little too silly. What's equally as silly is the Mandala's transformation. After removing the torso, folding down the side covers and cracking the belt open, remove the top sections and all but one abdominal bead. Then, drop the Gundam in, feed the arms through the holes, and close the belt up. This is the defense mode of the Mandala Gundam, and while it hasn't seen much intended use in the anime, it's still a cool feature. It does mean that there are extra parts to store away though. Speaking of which, the belt has an underfloor layer for storing the mini mandalas and any small accessories that would fit inside. And there's an extra face and forehead gem thanks to how the runners are molded. And while the Mandala Gundam doesn't have a core lander, it has the universal double holes on the back for even more lunacy should you choose. I forgot how many years ago it was when I watched G-Gundam for the first time, and ever since I saw the Mandala Gundam, I've fallen in love with its theme and ridiculous design and wished that it had a kit. Luckily, patience does pay off in this case, as the high-grade Mandala Gundam is one I would strongly recommend. The build is unique, the aesthetics are fantastic barring some inconsequential nitpicks, and besides most of the default gimmicks being implemented well, the model kit originals further expand on the innate abilities of the Mandala Gundam in a fun way. Granted, the story is different when it comes to touching up all the inclusions, but I doubt painting the mini effigies is the main reason to pick this kit up. Beyond the ludicrousy, the high-grade Mandala Gundam is just a well-made kit to have some fun with, and that has been achieved with flying colors. Ultimately, this one-trick pony piloted by Daredevil without the no-kill rule is a highly worthy investment, as even among the G-Gundam designs, there will be no other kits like the high-grade Mandala Gundam. And that's all for me. Thank you for watching, drop a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content like this, and a special thank you to the channel members, credits in the description below. That said, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out guys, bye bye.